Hi, my name is Stephanie Wells and this is my ePortfolio highlight video. So I'm going to get started going over, whoops, let me see if I can find it here first, some of my candidate information. Some of the things I really wanted to look at first was my leadership philosophy. I'm going to pull that up. This was kind of a hard thing to think about as I have taken on this new leadership role as the administrator for the early intervention program here at Russell Child Development Center. But when I think about my leadership philosophy, I think my philosophy is to model what you expect everyone else to do. So I'm a really hard worker. I believe in telling things how they are, being transparent. I'm also a lifelong learner. I really like to continue to learn, so I like to model those behaviors, and I'm also one that's just going to jump in and do the work. And if there's work to be done, I don't care what kind of work it is, I'm going to be doing it with everyone else. And so I think that makes a leader somebody that people can look up to when they see that person doing the same work that they're doing. And I also feel like my leadership style really supports my staff, and I feel like if I want people to get better, then I need to provide supports, professional development, things like that, so they can get better. I can't just tell them that they need to do better and they wake up tomorrow and are able to do that. I need to offer supports to help them with that. And I feel like that's really how I have built my leadership style as I'm continuing with this position. Next thing I kind of wanted to look at was my plan of study. I just wanted to go through that really quick. I kind of did these classes fast and furious, completed the whole program in a little over a year, I guess it's been. And I was, I guess, lucky or unlucky, not really sure. I took one of the intercession classes in December last year, and I have to tell you, it was pretty tough. I worked really hard trying to get everything done and doing work as well. So it's been a really tough year. I've put in some long hours, but I have definitely learned a lot from all of my classes. So definitely worth the time. I do appreciate the experience I've gotten from this. Another thing I really wanted to look at too is just my resume and just talking a little bit about my background in education. I've been with Russell Child Development Center for 16 years. And so I have my master's in early childhood special education. And then about 4 years ago, I also got my certificate in sensory disabilities to become a teacher of the visually impaired. And now I'm working on this administration degree so I can continue as the early intervention program coordinator. And so I've had a lot of great experiences here. I love my job. It's taught me some great things, and I think I've put together a really nice resume. And I'm one of those people too that really likes to volunteer and join every group and enjoy every opportunity I can to learn, because it makes you more, I guess, marketable or employable. So if I were to ever have to leave this position, that maybe I'd be able to find something out there. So I really try to do as much as I can in my job, and it worked because I love my job, but also to make myself valuable. All right, I'm going to move on, keep moving along here. The next thing, if I can, get down here, that I want to look at. Gosh, I'm kind of having some problems here. Is the annotated bibliography. And I have to say, this was something that took a lot of time. I spent a lot of hours on this annotated bibliography, and to be honest with you, when I first got started, I really didn't see the purpose in this, but I really read some great articles, gathered some good information, and have a lot of information that I can look back on if I have questions. But it was actually a really valuable experience, and I learned a lot from doing the annotated bibliography. The next thing I wanted to look at is just the log form here. Whoops, let me go over here to this one. And this was really helpful to keep track of, just making sure I had something in every component. I had quite a few activities that took some time, and some of these activities, I'm not really a computer person or technology person, so when I started doing some of these activities with Canva and Prezi and all these different things, it really took me a long time to figure out just that platform before I even did my homework. So for somebody young and good at technology, it may have taken them an hour or two to do the activity or the assignment, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours because I really had to learn some of that technology. But I have learned so much, and hopefully going to be able to use that down the road. But had some really great opportunities and had some great activities to put in here. Another thing that was really actually very helpful was the component tracker, and being able to take this and then get my spreadsheet and compare both of them and make sure I was covering everything was really, really helpful. I really made sure, and hopefully it was what I was supposed to do, really made sure that I had something in every single component. Some components have two things because I wanted to have something in every standard for elementary and something in every standard for secondary, and a couple times I had two in the component, but every component is used at least once with some activity in my portfolio and in my artifact folder. So I was able to do that, and that took a long time, but I had a lot of great activities to use. The next thing I want to kind of look at is to point out some highlights of my district level activity slideshow. A couple of things that I wanted to look at really quickly. Hopefully I can get through this without, let me see here. The first thing I wanted to look at was one of the projects that I did when I was taking the class was talking about fraud and whistleblowing. And so during that class, I talked to my executive director, and we did not have a fraud policy in our handbook. And so that was something that I helped her develop, and we put that in our handbook. So it was a great opportunity to really get in and start doing some work right away from some of the information that I learned from the classes. Another thing that I really enjoyed doing and learned a lot doing was job descriptions. And that's one thing that we took on this year was rewriting all of our job descriptions. And I have OTs, PTs, SLPs, teachers, social workers, and nurses. And we kind of went through all of our job descriptions and really worked on using language that was inclusive, that really showed our norms and our values. And we really worked hard on that. And so that was time well spent. And let me see, I think that was all I kind of wanted to cover. Whoops, gracious sakes, that's all I wanted to cover.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Wills, and I am joining.
Sorry, that's all I wanted to cover in that one. The next one I wanted to go through was my elementary level activities. And this is the activities that I actually did, the 10 activities, and actually I did 11 activities because there were a couple things I wanted to include. And so my highlights from this one are, if I can get there quickly without making too much noise here. I'm not really sure sometimes how to get through here. But the first thing I really wanted to talk about, something that I do is with our Part C early intervention program, we are have to be a part of a local interagency coordinating council. And so we meet quarterly in January, April, July, and October. And that council is made up of different community partners and parents, and it kind of makes RCDC accountable for our services. I put together a report that I share at that meeting, talks about professional development that my staff has done, talks about how many kids we are serving in each community, child find, how many IFSPs we've developed. And so it's a lot of really good information. I work really hard on that report, and good information to share with my partners. Another thing I wanted to talk about is community events. One thing with working with Russell Child Development Center, we're a nonprofit organization, so I do a lot of community events, share a lot of information, and it's really important to get out in your community. And so I have a lot of opportunities to do that with this job. Another point I wanted to share that I really enjoy is job fairs. We've really been out hitting the job fairs lately. We have a real shortage of teachers, SLPs, and OTs, so I've been out doing a lot of that lately, but that's definitely something I enjoy, and it's hard work, really, really hard work, and trying to find the right fit for my organization is really challenging. The next one I wanted to share is the secondary level. Some of the highlights from that I wanted to share were one of the videos that I really enjoyed working on was the FERPA information and sharing that information with all of the staff and making sure that all of the staff is aware of their responsibilities. And so that was kind of a nice thing that I was able to put together. And then I really enjoyed this various forms of communication. We have a lot of diverse families in our community, and so just making sure that we remember to use different forms of communication. So that was something I really enjoyed and enjoyed sharing with people. Next thing I want to look at really quickly is my administration verification form. And so on this form, I actually had 2 signatures. The first signature I had was from Rebecca Clancy, who is the executive director here at Russell Child Development Center. And I meet with her on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, with questions that I have for her. She's very helpful. We do a lot of work together. And so I was able to share a lot of my information with her. Another person that I had signed my verification form was Rachel Lee. She's a principal at one of the elementary schools in our communities that we provide services to, and I've done some different things with some of my other classes with her, and so I was able to meet with her about every week and kind of communicate what kind of things I've been doing with the classes. And having both of their input was a really great experience, and they're both extremely knowledgeable, and I appreciate their help very, very much. And let me see, the last thing I want to share, I believe, is my reflection form, just talking a little bit about the program as a whole. And I really wish I had started putting together my eportfolio a little bit earlier, but hindsight's always 20/20, and I didn't do that. But one thing I really did enjoy was, like I said, really looking at the standards for each activity we did for our eportfolio. And although I found it took a lot of time, I really do feel like it really helped me understand the standards and really looked at all the activities that I did and the purpose that I had for each one. And so it was a great experience being able to do that. And then at the very end here, just looking at all the highlights I had from each class and how they were important to me. Like I said, I learned a lot from this experience. Every time I would take a class, I would go back and talk to my executive director and say, like, hey, do we have this on file? Or hey, what does our program look like for this? And there were a lot of things that we developed this year that we didn't have. And so these classes were a great resource, and I appreciate the opportunity. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is add my highlight video whenever I get this finished and put that in here. I appreciate you looking at my ePortfolio highlights. Hope you enjoyed them. Thank you.